Hey guys, welcome to the channel. What's up, everybody? It's me, Josh Jepson, and I wanted to talk about something today that I've been kind of hinting at and not teasing necessarily, because it's not necessarily something that I want to talk about for too long. I want to talk about it just for this one video, and then I want to move on from it, because it's just been so stressful the last few weeks. I was in the ER. I went to the hospital a few weeks ago. I'm not going to give dates or anything, but I'm going to talk about things in terms of months, weeks, and days, and it's a lot of blur. So this is one big blur this past month. So the dates and the times of things are going to be very, very loose. And so basically what happened was I started hallucinating. I had I think some scary moments that where I turned into somebody that my wife Brooke didn't recognize, and there was a moment when I didn't even recognize my own wife, and that's when it started scaring her a lot. And it scared me once I found out that like all this was happening, because I don't remember a lot of this stuff. I think that there was a combination of factors that got me into the ER, and based on just this is all based on other people's accounts of the story, because I don't remember most of it. So basically what happened was I must have passed out or fell asleep or something, and when I woke up, I didn't recognize Brooke, and I started seeing family members that were not around. There was a stack of paperwork that I was working on before we left that I pointed at, and I called them flowers at one point when they were clearly not flowers. It was paperwork. There was a lot of moments like that, and I'm not going to detail every little thing here in this video, but I figured I'd give you guys an update because, boy, it's been so long. Because the plan was to get on this channel and start doing more regular videos like this, where I can just sit down and talk to you guys and have like a normal conversation. And I want them to be funny and entertaining, but this isn't really going to be a funny or entertaining video, because it's an update. It's a health update. And I just want you guys to know that we are good. Everything is good with me and with Brooke, and even though it was scary and it was a long time and a lot of stress, things ended up being okay in the end, and we're all here now. But I thought I would talk about this a little bit, because I think it's important. Before I get too deep into this conversation, I do want to say that I am not a mental health professional of any kind, and the only things that I have to do with mental health are my own experiences. So, take all of this with a grain of salt, and don't, use this as medical advice, right? Like, talk to a doctor if you need help or what have you. So, during my hallucinations, I called them day terrors, day nightmares is what I called them, because I was having a lot of nightmares for a while. There's some construction. I can actually hear some of it now. That like was keeping me up. Sometimes they were doing it really early in the morning, or like the trash compactor, activates or something, and it wakes me up really early in the morning sometimes, and I wasn't getting enough sleep. The other factor was I was drinking a lot of caffeine. Way too much caffeine. Too many energy drinks. You guys saw me on the stream sometimes just drinking one of those Bang energy drinks that has 300 milligrams of caffeine. Sometimes I would have 2 of those in a day, and coffee. So and then I started getting some protein bars that also had caffeine in them for some reason. So clearly I was on way too much caffeine. So I think that was adding to the not sleeping factor. And also just caffeine in general is kind of bad for you in great amounts. And so all of those things, plus I was on the wrong medication, and I wasn't, following up with my doctor as frequently as I should have been, to make sure that I was on the right medication. And so all of these factors combined into one big mess of a situation where I started having nightmares during the day. I have a very vivid imagination, a very vivid, like mind's eye, like picture memory kind of deal. And that helps with creativity, it helps with art. It's something that I really love about myself. And, usually it's a good thing. In this case, because I was having nightmares during the day and I was basically daydreaming, I would kind of disassociate and start thinking about a lot of negative things, and it would cause anxiety and panic attacks. And this actually happened recently if you guys remember, there was a Pikmin 2 stream that I started doing with Emil Conroy, and like 30 minutes to 40 minutes into that stream, I just went away for a bit. I went to go hyperventilate in the other room because I was having a panic attack, and and at the time I had no idea why, and I was kind of upset by that because I was really looking forward to doing that stream with Emil, and everything was actually really good, and the stream was funny, and people said it was good, and I don't know. At the time, though, it didn't feel like that. It felt like, I don't know, I felt scared. I felt, I don't know, I felt a lot of things. And I think that's when it sort of kind of started. And then, everything after that was a slow build to what ended up being a psychosis episode. So I guess I have a genetic predisposition to psychosis. And of course I have, they diagnosed me with major depressive disorder and with psychosis, with features of psychosis. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And of course, going into the hospital, there was, fears that it was something wrong with my brain, or a brain tumor, or a brain infection. Fortunately, it was none of those things. I thought I had a heart attack. That's what actually landed me in the ER in the first place, is that I kept telling Brooke that I was having a heart attack, or I was about to have a heart attack or something. I thought I was having a heart attack because I had tightness in my chest. I couldn't really breathe very well. And then again, I don't remember going into the ER. I just remember waking up in a bed in the hospital. I remember flashes of like getting gas in the, I don't even know if that was the same day or not. And then I remember a flash of being in the like the waiting room of the ER, and then I just remember waking up in a bed, and then I remember going to sleep, and then waking up, and then going to sleep, and then waking up, and then going to sleep, and I couldn't remember what was real. I couldn't distinguish reality from not. I couldn't recognize my wife or my mom. I kept seeing family members that weren't there. I kept hearing family members that weren't there. And I had briefly, when I was kind of just sat there alone, I would wake up sometimes, and I would just be there in the hospital alone, staring at nothingness. And I was terrified, if I'm honest with you. I've never been to the hospital for any reason other than like, no, I've never been hospitalized for any reason. I've never been to the ER for any reason other than this. And so that's why it was so terrifying, right? I've never had any major health problems. And nobody really knew what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. And ultimately they cleared me physically. Brooke pushed really hard to make sure that they did all the right tests and make sure that everything was okay with me and my brain, especially because that was the biggest fear, was that I had a brain infection. And I'm so glad that was not the case, because I do remember bits and pieces of them telling me stuff like that. And ultimately what ended up happening, and this is something that I'm apprehensive to talk about because there is still such a stigma around a lot of mental health stuff, but I was admitted into a mental health facility, like a psychiatric ward kind of thing, part of the hospital that I was forced to stay in for as long as they needed to take care of me. Unfortunately, it only ended up being a week, but it could have been longer. It could have been up to 90 days. And I was convinced that I had hurt myself or I had hurt somebody around me when I was having these day terrors, because it was very difficult to get all the information because it was very scattered, right? It was very scattered, and I was in there alone, and I wasn't really able to talk to Brooke face to face, and I had to converse with people that I had never really met before. And and a lot of different doctors and psychiatrists and nurses and things that would come and check on you once in a while. And it was a very different experience. I don't know if you've ever experienced, going to a mental health facility like that before. It was a very nice facility with wonderful food, and the beds were terrible, but I can't complain too much. I was in there for help, right? And while I was in there, I met a lot of interesting people, and I'm definitely going to make some vlogs talking about some of the. I want to obviously go into details because I don't want to give anybody's personal information out or anything. But I met a lot of people in there that changed my perspective on a lot of things too. So that was helpful in general for that kind of thing. But ultimately, the reason why they put me in there is because while I was having these hallucinations and I was having these day terrors, I was talking about suicide a lot. I had mentioned to some of the doctors that I had a plan and that there was, and the thing is that it's only partially true. It's true in that I've had suicidal thoughts before, but it's not true in that I was planning on doing anything. But who knows? I wasn't in my right state of mind. Right. So I can say in my right state of mind that no, I would never do anything like that. What the hell? What the heck what are you even thinking about? But I have to be honest with myself in saying that I had those thoughts at least before, at some point I've had those thoughts before. And, that was cause for concern, right? That was cause for concern. That's why they were so concerned. That's why everybody was so concerned ultimately at the end of all of that. My thought was that I did have something wrong with my brain and that I was losing my memory or something along the lines of that because I was having these memory lapses. So that was what I thought at first. I wasn't concerned so much about the suicide thing, but I think it's important to talk about this stuff, even though it makes me nervous to talk about it and it makes me nervous to make a video like this. But I think it's important for me to get a lot of this stuff off my chest and into your ear holes so that you can understand where I was at and why everything suddenly stopped right as it seemed like the channel was about to go, to pop off or whatever. Everything seems like it was falling into place, and then suddenly this thing happened and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So I'm a little disappointed, mainly in myself that I wasn't taking care of my health before that. And there's a bunch of other I can't detail everything in this video, and I won't. I don't think I'll ever detail everything in one video because it's not really for you guys. This one is more for me to again just to get it off my chest. And I mean it is for you guys because I know a lot of people worried about me and worried about us in general, me and Brooke and our family, and had a lot of people say that they were praying for us or keeping us in their thoughts, and we even had some people donate money for the GoFundMe that I believe it was Tabby and Nick that set it up. But there were so many people, friends and family and other audience members and, the Jep Force. You guys are awesome. I had no idea what was going on with the GoFundMe while I was in that facility. Brooke mentioned something about it when I was in the ER, but I didn't. I thought most of that was not real. I thought I was still hallucinating while I was in there, or having other brain issues or what have you. And so some of the same things that I remember had just kind of washed away. But when I was in this mental health facility and I was able to call Brooke on the phone and I talked to her a little bit, she was mentioning it, and I cried. I freaking bawled my eyes out when I learned what you guys had done for us to help with medical costs and whatever, since we weren't able to work either. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to say it again and again and again, but I love you so much for being a part of this community. It was really scary. It was really scary. And, in hindsight, looking back on it, I shouldn't have been so scared, but, because I was in a safe place with people that cared about their jobs, the nurses and the psychiatrists and the doctors and stuff that were there to help the patients. They wanted to help. Right? That was not only their job, but some of those nurses and some of those social workers and some of the people that were in that mental health facility were really passionate about what they do, and very helpful in getting me to a spot where I'm comfortable with things again. Most of everything that I was diagnosed with, like I said before, it was the major depressive disorder with some psychosis, which is a genetic thing that I cannot avoid, and I was on the wrong medication for it. And really, I think that was the ultimate takeaway, is that I was just on the wrong medication and I was taking them at the wrong times, and it wasn't as consistent as it should have been. And whoo boy, now one of the things, and I can talk about this in further detail later, but I kind of want to wrap this video up now. One of the things that I really liked about being in that facility and learning more about myself and how I operate in my brain, they flushed out my whole system, because I wasn't taking my normal meds. So for the first couple days I was there, I wasn't taking any meds, and it cleared my system. And then I had caffeine withdrawals, which was not good. If you've ever had caffeine withdrawals, trust me when I say that they are really, really terrible, and you don't want to. Just limit your use of caffeine. If I have any piece of advice to give in this video at all, just limit your use of caffeine, because holy, I was... Anyway, we can talk about that in more detail too in the future video. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up and say thank you so much for everything you guys did. Thank you for sticking around and being patient with me while I've been trying to get back into the swing of it again this past week. And hopefully we can get back to normal and actually make some vlogs that aren't about my mental health for once. Although I really do want to talk about more mental health stuff on this channel. Like it's a big focus for me on this channel is mental health stuff and things that you can do to improve your mental health, and just like little bits and pieces of stories and stuff that I have to tell from over the years. And I've got a lot of stories I could tell. And I've got some stuff that I'm thinking about making for this week's vlog stuff. And that's it. I'm going to end this now. Guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Does that matter here in this video? Probably not. I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Thanks for being here. And I love you.